guys, welcome to podcast 5 of Let's Revise MBBS, and today we are going to study about basics of pregnancy and antenatal care. Okay, this topic is going to be very interesting. We all will enjoy it. But before moving on to that, let's revise yesterday's question. Let me tell you the answer of yesterday's question. So yesterday I told you about the Johnson's formula, which is used to calculate the weight of the fetus if we know the fundal height. So the formula is the weight of the fetus in grams is equal to 155 in bracket fundal height minus 12. Okay, most of the time we take 12. So I gave you the fundal height as 30 centimeters. So 30 minus 12 is 18. So 18 into 155 centimeters will be the height. Okay. Now let's start today's podcast. So what is the duration of pregnancy? How long does the pregnancy last? Should last ideally. So it's 40 weeks. It's not exactly 9 months. It's 9 months plus 7 days. Okay, remember that. It's plus 7 days. Okay, and how do we define that this pregnancy is preterm, this one is term, and this one is post-term? What is the duration for that? So any pregnancy between 37 weeks to 42 weeks is term pregnancy. So it has a wide range of 6 weeks. Okay, 37 to 42 is term. Anything beyond 42 is post-term. Anything before 37 is preterm. Now in the term, we divide these 6 weeks into 3 parts of 2 weeks each. So 37-38 weeks are called early term, 39-40 weeks are called term, and 41-42 weeks are called post-term. Okay, right. Now if I tell you to calculate EDD of a female, EDD is estimated date of delivery. So what will you do? You will ask that female when her last menstrual period was, and you will add 9 months plus 7 days in that day. Okay, and whatever day you get, that will be the EDD. But this is called Naegele's formula. Okay, this is for the females who have regular menstrual cycles of 28 days. But if the menstrual cycle is longer, if it is of 30 days, then you add 2 days more. Okay, you add 9 months plus 7 days plus 2 days if the cycle is of 30 days. If the cycle is of 26 days, you subtract 2 days. So it's 9 months plus 7 days minus 2 days. Okay, it's simple. I'll give you a question. So suppose there is a female whose EDD is calculated as 17th March 2020. Okay, and her menstrual cycles are of 31 days. Tell me when was her LMP? Okay, what did I say? EDD is 17th March and menstrual cycles are of 31 days. 17th March 2020. Okay. Now, what is the most accurate method for calculating EDD? It is actually UHG, which is done in the first trimester, more specifically between 7th and 9th week. Okay, that will give us a better estimate of EDD. Okay. Now let's see about various terminologies which are used in obstetrics, which are Gravida, Para, abortion, and live births. Okay, so Gravida means the number of times the woman was pregnant, irrespective of whatever happens to that pregnancy. It gets aborted, she gives live birth, or it's IUD, it doesn't matter. Just the number of times she was pregnant is Gravida. And even the current pregnancy is counted, okay, in Gravida. So suppose I tell you that the female had 1 abortion, 2 live births, and currently she is pregnant, 30 weeks pregnant. So what is her Gravida status? It is G3, because first was aborted, second she gave live birth, and third now she is pregnant. So G3. Okay, it doesn't matter if they are twins or triplets. It's considered as one pregnancy only. Okay, that's about gravida. Now what is parity? Parity or para is the number of times the pregnancy has gone beyond 20 weeks. Okay, and in parity the current pregnancy is not considered. Okay, and it doesn't matter after 20 weeks whatever happens, like the fetus takes birth at 28 weeks and dies, but still that will be para 1. Okay, coming on to abortion. Abortion is whenever the fetus dies or is aborted before 20 weeks. That is considered as abortion. If the fetus dies at 24 weeks or 28 weeks, that we will consider in para. But if it is aborted before 20 weeks, it will be considered in abortion. And what is L? Live birth. It is the number of live children she is having. So if they are twins, it will be L2. If they are triplets, it will be L3. Okay. Whenever they give in the question twins or triplets, that will only affect the L wala status. G, P, A, L में only L will be affected by that. Rest nothing will be affected. Okay. Okay. So we saw gravida, parity, abortion, and live births. Okay. Now let's come to antenatal care. Now, what is the ideal number of visits that a female should complete? So according to WHO, ideally it is 14. Okay, she should do ideally 14 visits, but minimum number is 4 in India. Okay, at least she should visit the doctor 4 times. And now USG. So USG should be done in first trimester, second trimester, and third trimester. In the first trimester, the USG which is done is known as dating scan. Okay, so that is to, as we saw earlier, between 7th and 9 weeks, it is done for estimate EDD, to calculate EDD. Okay, it is in T1, that's why it is called dating scan. In the second trimester, second trimester scan is called as booking scan, and it is done to rule out congenital anomalies. Mostly it is done between 18 to 20 weeks. And the scan which is done in third trimester is known as growth scan. It is mainly used to assess how the fetus is growing, and it is not compulsory, but it is done when the fundal height does not match with the weeks of gestation. Okay, there are 2 things which I would like to tell you here. One is the Alara Principle, and second is the various locations of the fundus at various weeks. So what is Alara Principle? Alara Principle says that we should perform minimum number of USG as minimum as possible should be performed. Why? Because ultrasound itself is a form of energy, and which can affect any tissue by its thermal or non-thermal effect. Okay, Alara itself is an acronym for as low as reasonably achievable. Right? Yeah. Now let's see about the weeks and various locations of the fundus. So let's consider 4 main lines. Imagine 4 lines. One at the pubis, the other one at the lower border of umbilicus, next at upper border of umbilicus, and 4th line at the xiphisternum, just below the xiphisternum. Okay. Now when the fundus is at pubic symphysis, that is 12 weeks. That uterus is 12 weeks pregnant. Now between the lower border of umbilicus and the pubic symphysis, exactly midway between those 2 lines, draw one more line. Imagine one more line. That line corresponds to 16 weeks. The lower line at the lower border of umbilicus corresponds to 20 weeks. So 12, 16, 20. Line at the upper border of umbilicus is 24 weeks. Now between this line which is at the upper border of umbilicus and line at the xiphisternum, divide this, draw 2 more lines in between those. Okay, so 1/3 at the height of 1/3 from the upper border of umbilicus and at the height of 2/3. So the line which is at 1/3, it corresponds to 28 weeks. The line which is at 2/3 distance from the umbilicus corresponds to 32 weeks, and the line at the xiphisternum corresponds to 36 weeks. Okay, And after 36 weeks, again the when the fetal head goes into the pelvis, again the fundal height decreases slightly, and at 40 weeks the height is similar to that which is at the 32 weeks. So 32 and 40 weeks, for both the weeks the height is almost the same, which is at the 2/3 distance from the umbilicus. Okay, so this was about weeks and fundal height. Now immunization in antenatal period. So one vaccine, which is tetanus and diphtheria in the adult dose, small d, it is small d. So that vaccine is compulsory, and 2 doses must be taken 1 month apart. Okay, but 1 dose is also sufficient if the female has already been immunized with this vaccine in last 3 years. Okay, now certain vaccines are safe, but some vaccines are unsafe in pregnancy. So basic funda here is that the live vaccines are not safe, but the killed vaccines are safe. Okay, so those who have forgotten about which are live vaccines and which are killed vaccines, read about it. We'll discuss more on this in tomorrow's podcast. Okay, coming on to the last topic of this podcast, which is the signs of pregnancy. Okay, so there are 6 main signs which I am going to discuss. The first one is Goodell's sign. Goodell's sign, everything is good. So it is the first sign which confirms that the pregnancy has taken place. So at 8 weeks there is softening of the cervix, and this is called as Goodell's sign. The next is Hagar's sign. After G there is H. So Hagar's sign is the second sign to appear in pregnancy, and when we go above the cervix we get the lower part of uterus, and softening of lower part of uterus is called as Hagar's sign. Okay, coming on to the next Jacquemer's sign, which is also known as Chadwick's sign. So it is the bluish discoloration of the vagina during pregnancy, which is mostly due to stasis of the blood vessels there. Okay, the next one is Osiander's sign. Okay, Osiander's sign is now obsolete, but still it is the pulsation that can be felt in the lateral fornix of the vagina. So letter P is after letter O, so Osiander is pulsations. Okay, Palmer's sign. So when we keep our hand and we try to feel the contractions of the rhythmic contraction of the uterus, so those contractions are felt. That is called as Palmer's sign. The last one is the Piscasex sign. So whenever the fetus implants, it implants asymmetrically or on one side of the uterus, and that side enlarges more as compared to other side. So there is asymmetrical enlargement of the uterus, and this is known as Piscasex sign. So we saw 6 signs. Earliest is Goodell's sign, second one was Hagar's sign. These 2 were first signs to appear. Then we had Jacquemer's sign, Osiander's sign, Palmer's sign, and Piscasex sign. Okay, so that's it for today's podcast. See you guys in the tomorrow's podcast. Till then, keep studying and enjoy. Bye.